Welcome to the Bank Marketing Show, the podcast that engages and informs you for success in today's marketplace. It's the show that will make you a better marketer with trends, tactics, and inspiration from experts and industry leaders. If you're wanting to impact your personal success and position your bank as the best choice in your market, you're in the right place. Now let's dive into today's show with your hosts, Chris and Dan.
All right. Greetings, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. We're excited to have you with us for another episode today. And Dan, this is fun and cool because this is the second in a series, if you will, or effort that we're doing with Gen AI to give actual boots on the ground demonstration and to give our bank leadership, marketing, other professionals that are listeners some really, I guess, kind of, hey, how do I get into using AI and chat and all these things in the bank, and what are some things that I can do with it? And we're going to actually deliver some great value today, Dan.
And we're actually going to, I'm going to show you some ways that I use ChatGPT. I think most people are experimenting with it at some level. I'm going to show you some things I've built and actually set up in a way we can send you the link to exactly this stuff. So we'll talk more about that at the end, but you can email us and we'll send out a usable link to the stuff we're going to show today. So, we'll talk a little about the prompts and a little bit about how we configured it, but don't worry about taking, copious notes because we can just send you out the link.
That's right. Well, and the show also, for all those that are listening, we're going to talk through this enough so you'll definitely be able to track and follow, and then go to bankmarketingshow.com. That's where you can reach out and get in touch with us. And Dan, like you said, we can share the link with folks, or you can go back and you can watch this episode on YouTube or at the bankmarketingshow.com website as well.
Yeah, and also, and this would be a great one to watch on YouTube because we're going to share my screen and kind of show you what's going on.
There you go. Well, Dan, this is a really applicable one, I think, for banks. We're going to use this one for demonstration purposes around social media and a content calendar builder, excuse me. And what this will do, and this is the way you've already got this constructed, didn't take forever to do. It is pretty straightforward and highly useful, valuable input, which is really what we want AI to do for us, whether that's operational workflow or content like this, right?
Yeah. So, the last AI episode we talked through creating blog posts with it, creating social media posts, doing research, using meeting transcripts to create action items, those types of things. Today we're going to talk about a custom GPT, which is, it's doing similar stuff, but it's set up for a process that you do on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. So if there's something you do every week or every month or every quarter that you use AI for, you can create a custom GPT that will just do it for you. So we've set it up to be just as easy as possible. Every time you need to perform that action, you kind of come in and give it a little bit of a seed information and it runs. And so, like the title of the episode says, like, we're gonna what we've created here is a GPT that creates a 90-day social media content calendar, and really it just takes in 3 customer questions and generates all this other stuff, and then it just works like a regular ChatGPT window where you can interact with it and ask for revisions, add in more questions, do other stuff with it. Yeah. But really, it's a custom GPT is just a pre-configured ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever chat window that's pre-configured with specific instructions, specific knowledge that it repeats every time.
Yeah. And Dan, before we started recording on the episode, we were talking about this, and one of the key things here is use real life questions. Use things that your customers are really asking or really want to know, or you hear as a common pain point, or things like that. So you've got this built up and open, and you've got it set up to be fed 3 questions. And these need to be real life and useful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So it's like anything, right? The quality of the questions you put in will result in, better the better questions you put in, the better quality that will come out.
Yep.
So if you're putting in generic stuff, you're going to get pretty generic sounding posts and blogs. But if you we've talked in the last couple episodes, like talk to your frontline staff, talk to your loan officers, figure out what are people actually asking.
Mm-hmm.
What's the information they find themselves repeating again and again and again. And that's what you should be feeding in here, right? And then repeat that. This generates 90 days of posts, right? So do a little tour around the bank every quarter and ask what the most common questions are, right? They may change seasonally. They may change if your bank went through an acquisition, within the last quarter, like the questions may change over time. So
yeah, or more global things like the Fed changes rates.
Yeah.
So then what happens? Because, consumers think, oh, well, the mortgage rates drop when the Fed drops the rate, like same day. It's like, no. Banks don't work that way. That type of thing. But that's a common one. Or, but that would be for a season. And then it's, something else. So, there you go, Dan, or an M&A, or just all types of things that your frontline folks and your loan officers can tell you, hey, this is what we're being asked about a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we talked in our last episode about, right, like when it becomes really easy to write a blog or create a social media post, the skill that's valuable in this is the prompt. And that's what we're talking about here. Like the skill that's valuable in here is knowing which customer questions to feed into this, knowing kind of which customer questions will get that social media traction. And then creating the blogs and the social posts out of it is what this like custom GPT will do super, super quickly, super easily. But it changes your workload, right? From I've got to sit down and write this blog to I've got to spend some time figuring out the best question to write a blog around.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so you are spending time on figuring out the best questions, and not the time on actually creating the content itself.
Yeah. And we're going to do the demo here in a moment. But again, our qualifier in this, Dan, always is this is going to get you a long way down the road, or 60% there, or 80% there, or whatever the case may be, even with the output of this. And, this still needs to, the actual content and those types of things still need to, it's crucial that they speak into your brand voice.
Yeah.
And they are reflective of local flavor, whether you're in Mississippi or California or New York or whatever, it matters not. But those are all considerations that your humanization and your local knowledge and your marketing wisdom, are all going to take these answers and then take them the last 20, 25%, into what it is that you actually need to be putting out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I would even think about it, right? Like it's not getting you from 0 to 80. You got to start at 10.
Yeah. There you go.
Start at 10, do the middle, have it do the middle 80%, and then you do the last 10% as well.
There you go.
So that's what I recommend is like spend the time figuring out the questions, run the GPT, and then, spend the time at the end editing.
Man, Dan, that was a good one. The LLMs need to put that as the disclaimer on the or the guideline on the top of all of their home screens is the 10-80-10 Dan Novalis approach. So I love that. So yeah, Dan, let's jump into taking a look at this. And again, for our listeners, we'll kind of talk you through this. But so we've come up with what were 3 pretty straightforward questions that are fairly common customer ones about mortgages. What do I need to know about mortgages before I shop for a house? How do I improve my credit score is another one, which is really, resourceful and informational for a lot of customers as well. And then what's the best way to start saving money? So we've kind of got those set up, and you're going to take those and feed those in now.
Yep. Yeah. So the way this is set up, right? It just takes 3 questions. You don't have to tell it, I want to generate 90 days of posts. I want to generate a blog. You just paste 3 questions in. That's all you need to do. It is configured to do all that other stuff, right? So I took the time to configure it with a big, long prompt and, how to think like a bank marketer and all that stuff that you'd normally put into a prompt. But, frankly, that gets kind of to be kind of a pain to do every single time. So that's where the custom GPT comes in handy is I don't have to do that every time. I just paste the questions.
Yep.
So, and again, these are questions we kind of came up with, but tweak them, tweak them for your customers.
Mm-hmm.
What it'll do here, right? It gives you a sense of what it's going to do. Here's some blog post ideas. It's going to start generating the 90-day calendar.
And the way you've set all of this up is you've set all it up to be pre-prompted, as you said, and coming at this from a bank marketer perspective, and set it up to already generate, all of this social post, blog ideas, content, all of that in a calendar format. So that's coming up now.
Yeah. Okay. So it generated here, right? So what it's going to do, right? It gives you the blog post ideas, and then it's kind of breaking those down into 90 days of posts, right? So it gives you a date based on today's date. So we're recording this here on the 25th of July, and it's starting with that date. And you can see it rolls out a couple months. It's generating a couple posts based on each blog title.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it gives you this whole table that you can download into Excel. It gives you the post
segmented out by platform, by social platform, Facebook,
yep.
etc. Yep.
Well, and so I've configured it right now just for Facebook, but right, if you're on other platforms, you can add that in. So it'll give you post text. It also searches Pixabay, which, if you don't know, is a free stock image site. So it'll give you a link to mortgage images on Pixabay. It generates posts in a couple different categories. So it says hook, educational, or quote. Right, a hook is just something like a question, something to draw people in. Educational, obviously, is a fact. Right, so it's talking about learn about down payments, learn about pre-approvals, and then a quote from the blog. So it'll just pull in a quote from the blog to hopefully get people to kind of click and read more.
There you go.
So that's the main part of it, right? It generated the whole social post. What you can do now, and it even asks you at the end is, do you want to which of these blog posts do you want to generate? Okay, I want to generate 1, 3, and 5, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can export. You can export this as a CSV, put it right into Excel, and generate the blog post. And then it's just from here, it just acts like a regular ChatGPT window, right? So then it'll, you can ask it to do more, ask it to make tweaks to the blogs, generate 20 more social posts.
Mm-hmm.
You can, right now it's doing 3 posts in a row for each blog. If you want to mix it up, you can shuffle up the content calendar as well.
Yeah.
Right. And so all this from just pasting in three questions and saving you the trouble from having to think through the big long prompt that'll get it to think like a bank marketer.
Well, and as you said, then next step, it's taking, the ones that were around credit score boosting, I want to dive further and, flesh this one out, further. And like you said, these are Facebook. So then you could take it and do it for other platforms that were more, or a more business focused one. You could change the tone of it a bit for LinkedIn, those types of things. And so take each of these and then kind of using the human brain factor and fleshing it out further.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I think it gets you started, gets you going. And then, if you're doing this every month or every quarter, you just come back into this same GPT and it's it's already there.
Yep.
So let me show you here what I did to configure it. And then I'll kind of show you how to create your own, right? So if you're in your ChatGPT, and the other LLMs have similar functionality too. I just, use ChatGPT, but you can create go to the GPTs tab, hit create GPT, and it'll give you a window like this. And this is it already filled in. And so really we built a long prompt in here that tells it, you're a social media expert, you help, you're a content assistant, you take in 3 customer questions, return lots of different stuff. So when, if you make your own, you can add more instructions, add fewer instructions. It's really trial and error, right? But this way it saves that prompt. So, you have it generate your social calendar first and then say, I wish it was doing these 3 things too.
Mm-hmm.
You can come back in here and edit the instructions later without messing with the rest of the prompt or having to copy paste it around. I'm telling it how to format the table, so you can always add other columns to it. You can add other data for it to spit out.
Yeah, or you've got in there prompts about the tone and specifics about how you want the output to look. Those types of things that can all be modified.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And do you want to generate? I say 500 to 750 word blog. You can make it longer, shorter. and all of that. And then there's some other tweaks. If you had, you could even configure this to your brand voice, right? If you had a documentation that was good examples of your brand voice, you can build a little knowledge base in here and say, and in your instructions say, use the files I'm uploading to configure the brand voice. There's all kinds of ways you can do it.
And the great thing about this, if you're listening to this episode, is again, as we said on the front end, reach out to us at bankmarketingshow.com and we'll share this with you. And, Dan has built this out fully and we've got this ready to share with you and you're welcome to take it and use it. Modify it as you see fit.
Shoot us an email. I'll send you the link directly to this, and you can just use it, make a copy of it, configure it, customize it for yourself. Lots of different things you can do with it, but happy to provide it as a resource.
Yeah. Dan, this is great. And, what we wanted to do and talk about and demonstrate today was, again, the time saving, the efficiency of process here. And like you eloquently said, it needs your human input on the front end and customization, localization, all of that on the back end. But the tremendous time savings just around this, and even the applicability of it is if you're working with agency partners like us and you're wanting to generate ideas so that, then you've got someone else doing the production, posting, creative, those types of things, but you want to kind of provide your own parameter calendar to go by. There's so many different ways that this could be utilized and get you much further down the road as a marketer, which then lets you focus on other things and in helping run the bank.
Yeah, you're not recreating the wheel every time for this stuff. You're just kind of turning it into a much easier, repeatable process. And then your process becomes, I don't have to block 5 hours to create blog posts and, social content. I have to block an hour a month, hour a quarter to source the 3 best customer questions and dump them in here.
There you go. That's right.
There's still the scheduling and all that other stuff. But if you're also using a Sprout Social type of tool that does that, there's some other automation steps there to make all that even easier.
Yeah.
So hopefully with this, we're getting you a little down the path of making this stuff easier, a little smarter with ChatGPT. So
there you go. Yep. Well, cool. No, great demonstration. So this was the second of 2 that we wanted to do and utilize this and kind of switching gears from our guest interviews and all of that to demonstrate. So hope this is really great and useful. Share this episode with folks too that you know that this would be useful for, and they're welcome to reach out to us as well. And follow the show here on Apple or Spotify or wherever you're listening to podcasts. Check it out on YouTube for the visual. And we appreciate everybody being with us.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dan.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for joining us. To go deeper or get access to some of the valuable nuggets from today's show, go to bankmarketingshow.com. There you'll find episodes, links to resources, and much more. Be sure to subscribe wherever you find your podcasts. And join us next time.